I am Aaron Colley with Spaces Design Build. We build outdoor living spaces, and I am a hardscaper.
Welcome to the I Am Hardscaper series on the How to Hardscape podcast, where we sit down and interview hardscape business owners and do a deep dive on how they became a hardscaper and how they operate their business. And if you're adding outdoor lighting into your installations, go check out Inlight Design. That's INLITE Design on Instagram. Get some inspiration from their page and take a look at their lighting products that they offer the hardscape industry and landscape industry, and go tell them that you found out about them from the How to Hardscape podcast and start a conversation with them, as well as Cycle CPA. If you need a team of bookkeepers, accountants, or CFO services for your business, especially at this time of year when we are starting to get really busy and bookkeeping gets placed on that back burner, go check out Cycle CPA, start a conversation with them, and if you let them know that you learned about them from the How to Hardscape podcast, you get $200 off their services. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. Okay, Aaron, let's get started to get to know a little bit more about you yourself, how you got started in this industry. I know we've talked back and forth a little bit, so I know a little bit of your background, but let's get started to know, how did you get started in this industry?
Well, I got started in this industry probably almost 30 years ago now, 28 years ago, actually, maybe a little more. When I was a kid, I was in on my 4-H groups. I was involved in many different activities. One of the big ones for me was gardening, plants. Got involved in plants, started judging plants, worked with the NJHA, which is the National Junior Horticultural Association, where we had actually won several national contests. And then I'm kind of unique in one way in that I never really mowed lawns. Never really enjoyed it. I started hardscaping when I was 16 years old with a 1982 Buick LeSabre. I would have a shovel, trucks I could borrow, rent a plate compactor, and I started installing patios when I was 16. I actually opened up my first wholesale account with County Concrete in Marathon, Wisconsin when I was 16 years old. We turned many pallets in the trunk of that car. So then, kind of fast forward, did that off and on. Through college, off and on, did patios. Then kind of got out of it for a while. Went to college, got married, joined the corporate, did the corporate thing for quite a while, climbed the corporate ladder that moved me across the country, ended up in Virginia. Got to a point where I just didn't want to do that anymore. And we started Spaces, well, originally Aaron's Outdoor Spaces. Now it's Spaces Design Build in 2018.
Incredible. Yeah. And I noticed that rebranding that you did there since we first started talking. So I do want to touch on that. But going back to your story, since starting when you were so young to the point today where you're coming back to the industry, what are some major things that have changed that have really caught your eye? Whether it be like, products or installation or just things in general that you've noticed about the industry that have changed so significantly since your time starting out?
Well, there's a lot of them. Installation methods. We didn't even think of any fabrics back then. I install everything with soil stabilization on my fabric now. That's been a huge change, huge shift. Compaction, we know a lot more about it than we did back then. I mean, some guys maybe did back then, but I didn't. I mean, I always had a decent plate, but that was about it. We use a 6,000 pound reversible now, and then just different methods. A gator base, I'm a big fan of that, and then safety and the job site tools that are now available. When I was working hardscape, I worked for a couple companies right out of college. And I don't know how many steps and boulder walls we manually built. I mean, manually, 2 guys picking up a 400-pound boulder and putting it in place. And how many limestone stair treads I put in with a ball cart of all things. And, I mean, we got it done, but my back is paying for that yet today.
I bet.
And that, that's a big thing for me is I'm trying to avoid as much as that manual labor as we possibly can. So it hasn't always been that way. For the last year, we've changed a lot of things.
When it comes to talking about safety here, have you been able to transfer things from your experience outside of the industry, with your corporate experience, with other experiences that you've had? Have you been able to transfer some of those skills to your new business starting out here? And what are they, if you can share them with us?
Yeah. A lot of things transferred over, and some of them is in the corporate world, I had to head up the safety as well for a chemical distribution plant that we ran. If you can name the chemical, we sold it. So it was, gases, the solvents, to your inorganics for water treatment. We handled it all. So it was pretty broad. Within that, one thing that we had was safety stand downs and stop work authority, which is something I'm implementing in my team. If they see something unsafe, they have the right to stop work. Say we don't have safety glasses there, or they're in the tool trailer, or we need to stop work and go get them. Hearing protection, safety meetings, documenting that stuff. It all needs to be documented. We wrote our own SOP for silica, which I want to market and put out somewhere. And then we provide all the PPE, like the steel toe boots, and they're a good boot, uniforms, pants, shirts. I think that's important. It's all part of the brand and trying to develop a good culture.
Yeah, and that all is incredibly important. And I think it does go overlooked. Like you said, providing all this PPE with that. And you mentioned the brand aspect to that. Are you trying to not only provide that PPE for safety, but to also ensure that each of your employees looks uniform, looks the same, and looks like Spaces?
Yes, we are. From the hats, the boots are all the same, the pants are the same, and the shirts are the same. Just a discussion this morning, our shirts are going to change just a little bit as we grow. The field staff will have one shirt. I'm a foreman. It's going to have a little bit different shirt, so you can kind of see the different authorities. The other thing which I saw Evolve doing, Jordan Daniker, is he got his guys a backpack for their PPE for like a level. I just bought new Stabilas for the guys, and I'm going to get them a backpack that's branded. And it's going to be a nice backpack, like a North Face or something. I mean, it's going to be a nice, something they're proud of, something they want to take with them. Because something I find is we're always forgetting our PPE, or we're forgetting our small tools. We don't have them, and that's, it costs time.
Yeah,
something this can just take home.
Absolutely. I love hearing Jordan talk about those small things that really do kind of add up and provide employees with that sense of ownership and responsibility, but also something that they can carry along with them, that belongs to them, that makes them feel, the cared for, but also a part of the company more.
I think it's important. And this is not, we're not buying junk tools. This is, those levels aren't cheap, and we're buying nice, and stuff the guys are proud of. And then, our we'll have that backpack, embroidered with Spaces on it. It's going to be branded. It's going to fit us. It's going to be the right colors and whatnot.
Aaron, I want to touch on your rebranding and how you went about that, why you did that. But I want to ask you, going back to the company that you started when you were younger, obviously there's things that you've learned through your corporate experience, through your experiences in the meantime. But if you didn't go that route, if you didn't get that sort of other experience before coming back to this world, do you feel that eventually you could have built the company that you're building now, gone down the route that you're going down now? Or do you think it would have taken you much longer? Or do you think that, as not only a person yourself, but in general, you needed that experience elsewhere to be able to bring back with a set of new glasses to be able to establish the company that you're building today?
I think I needed that experience. It was a unique time in my life. I was really young when I took, what happened is I started in Minnesota. Then due to a buyout, I kind of took a demotion kind of sort of to move down south because that was just the best opportunity for me at the time. So I did that, knowing eventually I'd be looking to move back up again where I was. I wasn't really looking for I was a branch operations manager. And when I was in Greensboro, North Carolina, I was just a dock worker, which is an entry-level job. So pretty much overnight, I went from an entry-level job to having almost 37 people under me in a new town, in a new facility. And that just gave me a ton of management experience, a ton of starting to look at numbers. I really struggled with numbers. I'm sure we'll touch on that because there we had huge resources. I mean, if I needed something to explain to me, I just walked down the office to our CPA and said, "Hey, what happened here? Help me with this." So I explained this. But that gave me leadership. It put me in front of people. It gave me I've been audited by OSHA, the EPA, by the FDA, by the FFA. I mean, I've been through the ringers with all these governmental agencies. And to be quite honestly, I mean, we just got to dot our I's, cross our T's, and none of them really scare me that much. Homeland Security. It just gave me just a lot of experience with all these different agencies. Just willing to, pick up the phone, ask for help. It would have taken me a lot longer to get to where we're at had I started this earlier, kept on going. Because in fact, we did incorporate in 2011 as well in Minnesota before we came down south. I just was on the fence and we never really did anything with it.
For like a contractor starting out and trying to wrap their head around sort of safety on the job site, these safety meetings that you've talked about, what's a good starting point for them to be able to kind of establish a regular safety meeting? And what does documentation kind of look like for that for you? Is it a daily thing, even if it is the same job site, about equipment that'll be used on the day, things that'll be experienced on the day? Can you kind of walk us through kind of like a starting point safety discussion that you'll have with your crew on any given day?
Well, if there's anything new or different, we will discuss that. Videos. The other thing, the OSHA website itself is a huge resource. Now, we don't talk about safety every day, but I try to make it, I don't have a specific meeting, but, I believe you need to have a monthly meeting at minimum, and you need to get your foremans on track and get everybody in tune, just so everyone's comfortable speaking up, talking about it. Hey, this isn't right. What are we doing here? We forgot this. Like just the other day, we're cutting something and we didn't have any glasses. Like, look, we just got to stop. I know we don't want to go to Home Depot right now. We just need to go and get some glasses. We don't have them here. We left them at the shop. We just need to stop. And then it just needs, I think a lot of people overcomplicate this. You just need a basic sign-in sheet and have them sign it and date it and write down what you covered and just put it in a file and keep 12 of them. Or if you do and then the other thing is safety standouts. Say you hear of something within the industry, this is something I think we could all do better at, is shout that out on some way through social media so that we can all cover it with our crews. So it doesn't happen twice. Look, this happened over here and it was terrible, but now what can we do about it so that doesn't happen here? What did that team learn? Invest, how do we correct that? So someone else doesn't get hurt, so it doesn't happen again. I think as the industry as a whole, I think we got a long ways to go.
Definitely. I love that. I love the idea of kind of shouting that out, especially on social media, because, some things, especially safety related, some things you don't know what you don't know. And I think just having that spotlight on something safety related that somebody may not think about, just, puts a spotlight on things that can be put into place before something happens, whether it's something minor, something major, something as small as, I do see things online about, grinders and the blade just kind of shattering, and having the right safety wear, safety glasses, things that are more obvious like that. That's, safety glasses should be used, and the right grinding tool should be used for the disc that you're using. But even some of the less obvious things that should always be called out, so that everybody knows and everybody's on the same page and everybody can make the job site much more safer.
Yeah, I agree. I think developing a way to shout those out, put together a post. Hey, this is what happened. This is what we did about it. This is what you can do, and then other teams can take that, and then also developing various safety topics that I can put out there. I'm still a little bit out on that as a crew. We get our crew dialed in on the job site, then I think I have more time. That's something I would like to do, is just put these together. I do have another Instagram account. There's 0 followers. It's out there for this, just to put together these safety stand downs. Just, hey guys, what do you think of this? Let's do this, this, and this. And for a new guy, go to the OSHA website, the EPA. Don't be afraid of these websites. There's just a ton of information, different safety articles, topics, how to do it. There's just a ton of information.
Definitely.
OSHA.gov, EPA.gov here in the States.
And where should we go to start following your safety account so that we can start to get more of this information?
It is currently, I believe it's called the Hardscape Entrepreneur.
And we'll touch on that a little bit later. And continuing on talking about revisiting branding, rather. I know you went from Aaron's Outdoor Spaces to Spaces Design Build. Let's talk a little bit about that. What was the decision, or what was the catalyst that caused you to at least, start playing with the idea of rebranding?
I just wasn't happy with our look. I wasn't happy with our logo. I wasn't happy with the name. I got some big goals, and I just didn't think it fit. It took a long time to come up with Spaces. I tossed around the idea for a long time. I joined a mastermind group a year ago, Imagine Designs Builds group with Jack Kelly. When I was at the meetup, he found out I wasn't happy with it. We started tossing around some ideas, just casually Sunday morning, I think. It just wasn't it. So I just wanted something bigger. I wanted something modern. I wanted something scalable. I didn't feel like Aaron's Outdoor Spaces was that. Some people can scale their name, that's great. It just wasn't me. So we kicked it around some more. After that meetup, I talked to Jack often on social media and text and whatnot. And then we're just talking one night, and he's like, Spaces. I'm like, that's it, Spaces. We're working on our residential builder license. So we want to do more decks and maybe bigger spaces, possibly interiors. So the Spaces is a big name. It doesn't limit us to just patios, hardscapes. Because I've turned down jobs last year because people wanted these huge spaces, and we just didn't have. Well, we don't have the capabilities to do them currently, but I wanted to have the capability in the future. I also wanted a modern, clean look, which is what I think we got, because it was really cool at Christmas this past year. My niece and nephew, who were 15 and 18, saw my sweatshirt. They're like, we want one of those, Uncle Aaron. We want the Spaces apparel. So that was just really cool. Like we hit the nail.
I agree, man. I love the new name, the logo to go along with it. Like you said, sleek, modern. It really matches. Especially the work that you're churning out right now. It really goes along with the brand, definitely.
Yeah, our work has been changing and evolving. I think you're going to see more consistency. Far as you're going to see us do turnkey jobs with all the plants, all the bushes. Our current job has 2 water features, a pavilion, a hot tub. Jack Kelly challenged me at the meetup. He said, you need to build more multi-level spaces. So this is a 3-tiered patio. I think there's a set of 12 steps. There's probably 30 to 40 inlights, all the plants. There's some steel columns. There's just, we're doing the entire backyard. It's only 480 square feet, but it's one of our largest jobs to date.
Amazing.
There's just a lot of features.
You mentioned this vision, you got big goals. What, when you came back to the industry, did you have this vision, or what was it that allowed you to see a bigger vision or to create these larger, bigger goals? Is there anything in general that's kind of initiated that larger vision, or did you come back to this industry wanting to and having this vision that you wanted to kind of steer your company towards?
I came back to this industry and I was really slow getting started. I didn't know my numbers. Just now getting my books cleaned up. I've been outsourcing a lot more stuff. Like, we have a bookkeeper we just hired. She's going through all of last year's stuff. I'm going to re-reconcile all of it, just to get everything tight and squeaky clean. That's how I just want everything going forward. We went on synced up. So, I mean, our numbers. So when we first started, I did a little bit of everything, like some patios, some handyman work. I don't even want to job cost our first patio that we did. I know it's less than $12 a square foot, and I lost money big time. But what happened was I didn't really know the power of social media 4 years ago. And social media has been huge. I've seen what guys were doing. And then I got in this mastermind group and like, there's just a lot more here. And then I got asked for some different stuff. I'm like, and my vision changed. Like, this can be a lot bigger than just putting in a simple 12 by 12 patio. This stuff changes people's lives, literally does. I know one of our first big jobs was a big clay paver job, but I mean, it was the first time in a year that lady could get outside in her yard, but she was bound to a wheelchair. I mean, it was one of the coolest moments. It was a huge project for us at the time. I think it was total like 1,400 square feet. And these pathways went, all over their backyard. So I think that just seeing, just the industry's really changed. There's so much you can do. Outdoor living. There's just, and my challenge is just to focus on the entire space. Yeah, we're hardscapers, but I think there's space within that field for guys that are hardscapers, but also do at least design all the plants and have that vision for the entire space. So that kind of changed.
Like you said, kind of incorporating other aspects besides, pavers, slabs, and everything like that, but coming together with the bigger vision that you're obviously having with those plants and that plant experience, but also you're going after your residential contracting. So you're getting into the much larger picture. Is this something that you set yearly goals for to achieve and you kind of establish those goals? Or is this something that you're taking like step by step? Like, this is step one. We need to get this done before we move on to step two, and not necessarily creating a timeline and kind of going with the flow. Like, what's your process in establishing where you want to take your business?
It's been more of a step-by-step process for us. I think as we move forward, there's going to be bigger goals. As we start to build a team, it was just myself for the first couple of years. I've now had my one guy who's been with me for quite a while now, a little over a year. He's getting more dialed in every single day. And, it's been kind of just seeing what opportunities came. But I think now we're setting more goals. Like my immediate goal is to get to RBC, my Class A RBC. Then once we achieve that, we're going after CDLs. Just because of a purchase I think we're about to make. Our trucks are getting bigger. We're one truck. And it's just, we're going to be more goal driven going forward, for certainly, especially when the numbers game. My foreman's incentivized based on our gross margin, job costing. And there's going to see more goals as we tackle bigger spaces to make sure we stay on budget, because there's just so many risks.
I just want to take a break from today's episode to talk about our sponsor, Cycle CPA. You may have a CRM or project management software in place, but what data are you using to ensure your estimating is accurate? Having a proper accounting setup and accurate bookkeeping done is key to understanding overhead expenses and other costs that must be recouped in your estimates. Cycle CPA is a remote bookkeeping and CFO firm that helps to connect the dots from the financial reports to the hardscape and landscape data needed in order to reach high profits. They provide landscape and hardscape industry benchmarking, job costing financials by service line, advisory meetings, and much more. Cycle CPA's team of accountants are specialized within the hardscape and landscape industry, and you can visit them at cyclecpa.com, and for $200 off, mention the How to Hardscape podcast. Now back to our episode. We also want to say thank you to Inlight for sponsoring today's episode. Did you know that one of the easiest ways to grow your hardscape business and increase your revenue is by incorporating low voltage outdoor lighting to your projects? Using lighting can take your projects to the next level, make you more profit, and add that wow factor and make your business stand out. As a professional hardscaper, we know you need reliable and high quality products to avoid callbacks and wasted time on job sites. That's why Inlight offers some of the highest quality lights and is the quickest system to install on the market. Their patented Easy Lock connector ensures that lighting will be the easiest thing you install every time. No heavy lifting, no massive machinery, just plug and play. Not only that, but Inlight also provides many educational resources like online and in-person training, installation videos, unbeatable customer support, and more. Everything you need to successfully take your business to the next level with outdoor lighting and beyond. It's one of the many reasons why I stand behind Inlight and many other companies that provide these educational resources to their clients, to contractors, and to help us grow our businesses. So for more information on how Inlight can help grow your business, check them out on Instagram at Inlight Design. That's at INLITE Design on Instagram. DM them to find out how to put more money in your pocket this season. And talking about the difference between Aaron's Outdoor Spaces and Spaces Design Build, when you created that rebranding, obviously the number of years we've been in business and the way we get leads changes over a course of time. So talking about leads now, did you notice a change in where leads, or have you noticed a change in where leads have started to come from, or where you started to gain more traction in leads since rebranding? Or have you just always noticed a similar trend in terms of word of mouth or investing into marketing dollars? Like, where are your leads coming from today? And has that changed? Have you noticed a change since rebranding?
We're getting a little bit more traction on Instagram since rebranding. I've gotten a few leads from Instagram now. Facebook ads for me have always worked very well. The other thing that has worked very well for me, especially in the downtown Richmond area, is yard signs. And then word of mouth. There's just so many people just out and people who see stuff. So that's always worked really well. We're also got a magazine feature coming, a 3-page spread. That's just brand awareness. Hey, we're here. We recently moved our shop across town almost 80 miles. So we were driving to get everywhere. I mean, there wasn't a huge market for hardscaping until you came to Richmond. And we were a long ways south. So we actually have a shop, have 2 offices, and it's really kind of cool because I can also get some of my bulk products right from where I lease. I mean, right outside my window, there's yards and yards of mulch and crush and run and 57. The only thing I don't have here is my number 8s. So that's kind of helped. So as far as the leads, word of mouth has been good, Instagram, and then Facebook ads. And I'm just scratching the tip of the iceberg on Facebook ads. We also have a new website that'll be going live hopefully by the end of this month.
Continuing on, when, say, a lead comes in, whether that first contact point is through phone, through email, Where do you take that from there? Do you have a system in place that helps you pre-qualify leads that come in and helps you then take it to the next step? Like, what's your process as soon as that lead contacts you?
Right now, what we're going to do is I also joined the contractor fight recently. Tom Reber's group. Love it. Learning a ton. But our goal is to, when a lead comes in, is I'm going to just send them an email back, thank you, whatnot, schedule a time for a phone call. On that phone call, we're going to, I'm going to ask for, get some pictures, hopefully before the phone call, and then just have a phone call, and I'm asking questions like, why do they want to do this? Scope, budget, space, approximate sizes, and then I try to bracket that job so that when I do come out there, because we are going to charge for that consultation, so they know it's going to be and when I bracket that, it's a fairly large bracket, say 20 to 30K, or hey, everything we're probably talking 80 to 100. Okay, you want a swimming pool? Just the pool alone's 100. The hardscapes around it can easily be another 100 plus. Just giving brackets, and then hey, ask them, what do you think about this? Is that something you want to do? Then let's set up that consultation, which right now is $50. I'm thinking about raising it.
I like that bracketing idea, and I like that you're joining these groups that allow you to get this education, like the contractor fight group, the mastermind that really helps you accumulate all these different ideas and what's working and what's not for other contractors, and helping you kind of implement these things along the way to continue along. Like pre-qualifying is something that everybody should be doing, and it's obvious that you've got a system in place that allows you to do that. And that bracketing idea, I love that, to be able to recognize what a project might cost, to let the client know, and then charging for a consultation. Can you talk about why you charge for a consultation, the idea behind that?
I wanted to keep people honest. I was spending a lot of time chasing people that weren't going to do anything. Part of that is just not knowing how to run a Facebook ad, which I have a better handle on now, but also just something Matt Daly with Water and Earth told me. He's in town here, and so we chat every once in a while. He said something to the extent, I don't remember the exact quote, but I'll be close. There's no commitment to you, or no as a contractor, until there's a financial investment. So even though it's only $50, $100, $200, whatever it is, whatever you can get, that gives a commitment. So I just wanted to keep people serious. I was tired of running around. And then also my mindset changed. Now I started thinking, you know what? We bring value. We know things. We got experience. And people need to value, and that time is valuable. And that experience is worth money. We've seen things, we know things, and I don't think we should just be going around for free.
I agree with that. Yeah. And I like that. There's no commitment to you unless there's some sort of financial output on the client side. And especially when you're going through those pre-qualifying process, if a client's stuck around through that and you've provided them that bracket of what a project might cost, there's no reason why, if they're continuing through with that, you can't charge them for an in-person meetup and providing your experience, your knowledge with what that space could look like. So on that initial consultation, what kind of things are you talking to them about? What kind of questions are you asking them? And what is that sort of initial consultation looking like for you?
I try to allow 30 minutes to an hour max for that initial consultation. Something that I really like it when we can do is I like to get inside the house, because I think what's inside you want to take outside. These outside spaces are just transfer what's inside. So if that can happen, which it does probably 70% of the time, I'm just observing and I listen. And I try to ask open-ended questions. Do they like things square, round? What color palette? just general questions, big and broad, because I'm looking for someone who's going to let me design their space based on those questions with our style, which is developing. And then I'm asking for why they want it. How many people are they going to have out there at a given time? Are they going to have big parties, or just, is it just for their immediate family? How are they going to use this space? And then something that I'm learning to ask too is, I'm okay phasing projects, but it's, what's your big dream for your backyard? What's the big picture? Because I've had jobs where we go in and we build one space and now we want this. Well, it can be a real design challenge to design at that point sometimes. Whereas even if you're not going to do it all at one time, which I prefer them too, but at least we know, so we can put the vision together. We got one of those right now that I have to call after this, that we put the vision together 2.5 years ago. And now, phase 2 and 3 might be coming in, and it's going to be easy because it was already designed once. We kind of know how everything's going to fit and work together.
Yeah, I like you alluded to it there. Like, what is this? What do you want to see in your space? Like, what does the client want to see? And you mentioned Tom Reber, but he has a question that he says he asked clients. If I had a magic wand and I waved it over your space, what would it look like? You have no budget constraints or anything like that. And that really helps, like, a client, put a vision, or at least verbalize something that allows you to take it to the drawing board and actually put that vision together. It doesn't matter whether it's going to be phased or not, but that really helps to get that client's imagination kind of working, and to help them verbalize at least something if they don't have something in mind, really.
Yeah, it just helps, create that vision. And then the other thing I find out is a lot of our clients don't know what's possible.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know what we can do, or what their yard could look like. We're the experts, and we have, they can have some ideas and, somewhat of a vision, but, I find a lot of people don't realize, we can do this and that, and this is how this works. They don't, they see all these spaces, think, that's never going to work here. Like our first sunken patio that we did, we walked in, they said, yeah, okay, we got a $15K budget. I said, well, I listened to what all they want. We put together a plan, and, the job was obviously well over that. But, they don't realize that, yeah, we can put in that particular case, 140-foot drain to daylight. And we can, you have the right, we can make that work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, people don't realize, how that's what they're relying on us for.
Definitely. So when it comes to landing one of these projects, do you have a certain payment schedule that is applied to every single one of these jobs? Or do you are you flexible with your payment schedules in terms of like what you take up front and what those progress payments look like, and then what you're kind of leaving to the back end there?
I'm flexible on the back end, depending upon the job size. When we sign a contract, we take 20%. And then that gets them on the schedule. We've even done a couple this year where we've taken $2,000 deposits just to get on the schedule, and I've designed later. Actually, that's happened twice now. That totally blew my mind. Like, just how much to get on your schedule. I said, I just threw a number at them, and they just cut me a check.
Amazing.
Like, this is kind of cool. I never experienced that. But generally, I do a 20, 40, 20, 20, or sometimes I do a 20, 40, 10, 10. I used to take 50% up front, but as we're booking, 6-8 months out, that's kind of hard to swallow for a lot of people. I found out, and I really didn't feel like I don't need to take that much up front. Usually before we start, we take 20% when we sign, 40% 2 weeks before, and then 20% the day we show up. And then I break up the rest. Maybe like a current job, like when we finish the walls, they owe another 10%. Then the final punch out, they'll have their final 10. I think that one we did 20, 40, 20, 10, 10. Different progress points. And as our jobs get bigger, there'll be more and more progress points. ideally I want to get down to that. So that final payment is less than 5%.
And my next question kind of can lead from this, because a lot of times contractors experience pains when it comes to payment. But do you have a horror story that you've experienced in your time in business? And the reason why I ask this is to help contractors just starting out to, know what can happen, what is possible to happen, maybe put safeguards in place to prevent this from happening. But Aaron, do you have a horror story that you'd want to share with our audience here?
Well, when I was young, I had one client not pay me. I think it was like $1,600. Back then, how I priced my job, I was 16, I was a kid. So I took my materials, my equipment that I needed, I multiplied it by 2, and that was my price. And I was putting in patios.
Yeah.
And I was great money on the weekend. I was a high school kid. It was good money. And I just wrote out a simple contract. People were good with it. Built many walls, many patios that way. Horror story when we first started this business, and we're getting on the tailwinds of it now. It's been ongoing, and that is not knowing my numbers. My first two years, I didn't have a clue what I should be charging. Really didn't have a clue. Just listen to stuff on all these Facebook groups and all this other chatter, which I've tuned some out now, and you see me responding a little bit more now. But that led to just a bunch of financial issues. Thankfully, some other contractors here in town, once I go through social media, we finally started talking. I'm a very private person. I don't reach out much, to my fault. And that just really hurt. And we're still catching up from that. But I think not knowing your numbers, and just, I would encourage any young guys out there, reach out to myself for help, Weston, Synced Up. I mean, there's a myriad of guys. I mean, we're all willing to help. And I found the hardscape community is just awesome. And that's really, I mean, it's been horrific where we did and where we went financially. Just really get your numbers, get some help, ask for help. I mean, guys will help. I mean, local guys will help. I mean, there's some guys that are jerks, but I haven't met one yet.
Absolutely. Great advice. And moving on here to installation equipment, any talking points that you may have that may help somebody just starting out or may help somebody already in the industry in terms of, things that your company stands by and lives by on the job sites, whether that's installation practices, whether that's equipment, or anything that you really stand by in yourself with your business?
Big thing for me is compaction and subsoil. Something I didn't know when I was 16, something I really didn't pay much attention to till we started Aaron's Outdoor Spaces here. I started learning more about compaction, what was needed. We're a week and a half behind on our current job because of the way the home builder backfilled around the house. I mean, we had to dig out a stump, so then we had to deal with that, and then I've never seen clay like this. I mean, you could not build on this stuff for nothing. I think we got probably 6 tons of number 3 and some lime that we pounded. In some areas, it's probably 2.5 feet deep before we were able to build. And then we reinforced the base as well with GeoGrid and did all that. We offer a 5-year warranty on our hardscapes. I think that warranty is all based on your subsoil. I'm a big proponent. You got to get those subsoils right, which is the reason why I love our Bartell 2750. Now it's heavy enough it gives you good compaction. I mean, I still compact in a 3-inch lift, even though I got 6,000 pounds of force, just because you need that base for this stuff to last. I've seen, too many jobs that I've gone to where someone's gone in there and, maybe it was a chuck and a truck, which I understand why those guys are where they are. I was there, but at least do it right, ask for help. So that, and then machines. If you ask my foreman, a year ago, we were still hand digging a lot of patios. I mean, I had a Bobcat. It was old. It was a 1997. So I finally sold that this spring just because it was leaking some oil. It's just going to become a maintenance issue. Um, and I've been renting a little dingo ever since. Um, so just using machines. I mean, we can. It's so much easier. The guys are so much happier. So we're actually on the fence. I got a contract right now from CAT. I'm trying to decide whether or not we're going to buy a new cat this week. No, I need to make the decision probably after this call. I've been on the fence, just not sure I want to spend that much money. I'm currently debt. The business is debt free.
Gotcha.
And I just don't know if I want to do that or not. But yet, we do need tools, and then clamps, airlifters. We got the backpack airlift for the slab pavers. I want to get a mini and start slinging them. I mean, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. But I just see value in all the technology. I would encourage guys to embrace it, and you need to be flexible and willing to change.
Mm-hmm.
The installation methods change, they evolve, and they've gotten better. We used to use all crush and run and sand. Now it's, most applications we're using open grade, which we use most of the time except for on this job because of some drainage issues and whatnot. I'm actually using crush and run at number 8, but kind of a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
But, there's many reasons for that. But yeah, so I think just being able to evolve and embrace these new technologies and take care of your team. I probably don't need that machine, but at the same time, you're digging a patio, you're AC. These new machines are awesome, and just the efficiency, and then the cost, because I know what it was going to cost to fix an old machine. I just wasn't doing it anymore.
I am a huge proponent of renting equipment, especially, at least in my application, having so many different sizes of access into a backyard, and just getting the right equipment for that project is so important. And like you said, like renting equipment, at least for me, what I typically do is I rent it for, or when I'm pricing a job, I price it for an additional day on top of that, just so I know that, it's already built into the project, it's there. And yeah, like you said, like you mentioned with something, you're not there yet, but having that vision and having that process to get there, and to, show your crew, like you're showing them that, you guys are getting there, you are investing in them. You've shown that with the safety, the PPE that you're investing into them, the equipment that you're trying to get them, all of that kind of just adds up and builds up, and recognizing, what's available to us in this industry, and it's only going to get better.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say with that is invest in your people. Last winter here, it gets wet and slow. We try to work through it, but it's just kind of a wet, sloppy mess. So I took my foreman, put him through the ICPI. He's not officially certified with the square footage yet, but he's been through the course and passed the test, and also did the NCMA SRW, which as a business owner, I've not done. I've done the ICPI. Obviously, we're Techo pros and all that happy stuff. But what that did, that's empowered him. The other thing I did is when I first hired him, is I gave him the Techoblock spec book. And this is how I knew I had a good person, is he went home and read it. I'm pretty convinced he read it because of the stuff he brings up.
Yeah.
And then you put that on top of the SRW, and they see you investing in them. And, he brings up, oh, we need to do this here. What about this? This needs to be this. I mean, my foreman knows more than I do, which some guys are afraid of that, but don't. I mean,
right.
He's out there building these jobs for me, like to allow me to be here.
Yeah.
So that I can grow this business, so I can better take care of him and his family. And, he's just, invest in your people. Don't be afraid to educate them. Because, I'm like, hey, he brings stuff up. Hey, it says this. Well, I haven't been through the training. I don't know what it says. And, sometimes I'm busy designing and really want to get out of the field. I love being in the field, but at the same time, and as a business owner and to grow, I need to come out and depend on him. And it's only going to happen as, and I hired him green. I mean, he had zero experience, and he's going to be really really good. And he's just at the beginning, pay and all that stuff.
That is awesome. Yeah, investing into your people, education, equipment, any way that you can really just shows them. And Aaron, a couple more questions as we wind down here for you. You've already mentioned a couple names already, but even building on top of that or reiterating those names, but do you have any people that have helped you along the way, mentors, online, offline, people that you look for in terms of inspiration, anybody that you'd want to give a shout out here?
Here locally, Kenny Oriole with Oriole Landscaping and Hauling. He does all our dumpster hauling. But I just, he's just a really great guy, someone I can reach out to, pick up the phone, and just reaffirm my thoughts on a particular install or application. He's just encouraging. The other one is Billy Barron with Bethlehem Hardscapes. We both started our businesses, I believe, about the same time. Got to know each other through social media. He crashed my job site last week, actually, while I wasn't there. I posted a video of it. I just developed a really great relationship with him. Billy and I talk a lot, phone, social media, whatever. Just really, my goal is to try to lift this industry. I don't know Andy, I'm older, but his debt-free story inspires me. It's why I do put the brakes on some things. The other one is Jack Kelly and his mastermind group. He's just helped me with design and vision, just a ton with the Imagine Design Build, going to the meetup last year. I'm sure you saw some pictures of the project he just finished in California, and just his vision is just incredible. And then I recently joined the contractor fight, and I'm about a month in. So those are some of the shout outs I would give. And then our local Taco Block rep, Corey, has been hugely helpful. Jeff Taphouse on social media, just huge to reach out to those guys and what they're doing.
And closing things up here, Aaron, you have entered the industry at a very young age, and you're today building spaces. What is one thing that you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning? This can be related to anything, whether it's personal, business, or anything in general. But what is that one thing you know now that you wish you knew from the very beginning?
Don't be afraid to reach out for help. Do it right away. If you're going to get into this, reach out and find a mentor. I mean, it's something I wish I'd have done 4 years ago. I think we'd be further ahead than where we are now had I done that. Just ask for help. I mean, it's not a dog eat dog out there. I mean, yeah, you get some of those guys, but just reach out, whether it's on social media, and really try to find someone in town. The other guy that's helped me a lot is down in South Boston. He's another contractor here. I'm losing his name right now, but just reach out for help, because I know Matt Daly's helped me out with just conversations, Virginia Beach patios, suppliers, just build relationships, and just get help. I mean, we're in this together. Mm-hmm. I mean, if we all, if we get together, I think the entire industry wins or client wins if we work together. I recently brought another contractor on site for a sealing training day. We had a rep down. Hey, do you mind these guys? Yeah, sure. I mean, we're in this together. Yeah, they're going to seal patios. They're going to be competition, but you know what? That's going to make us all better. Mm-hmm. I talk to those guys often. Rossetti Hardscapes. We're all in this together. My one thing would be is reach out for help. If you don't know something, and get your numbers.
Aaron, this has been a great conversation. Thank you so much for your time and sharing what you've taken away from your time in the industry and outside the industry here. Aaron, where can our audience go to learn more about you, what you've got going on over there?
They can go to our Instagram, which is a Spaces Design and Build. It's the same thing on Facebook. Our website is still Aaron's Outdoor Spaces, but really shortly they will be able to go to rbaspaces.com, and you'll be able to find more about us there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to today's podcast episode. Go check out Aaron at Spaces Design and Build on Instagram. Shoot him a message, let him know that you heard him on the How to Hardscape podcast, and thank him for giving his time to spread what he has learned in his time in the industry. While you're there, go check out cycle_CPA on Instagram. If you need a team of bookkeepers, accountants, CFO services, they are the right company to reach out to, and you can get $200 off when you mention How to Hardscape. As well as Inlight Outdoor Lighting, you can check them out at Inlight Design and get a conversation started with them to start to incorporate outdoor lighting into your designs, into your outdoor builds. And we look forward to meeting with you next week on the How to Hardscape podcast.